Aloha, my dudes, Skeletor here, and we're back at you with another comic book haul. This week we're looking at Miles Morales Spider-Man number 24, The Spectacular Spider-Men number 7, The Spider's Web, Doc Savage number 1, and The Ultimates number 4. Alright, and let's just start in with Miles Morales number 24, written by Cody Ziegler and art by Federico Vicentini. I'm probably butchering that last name. I'm sorry. It is what it is. We pick up exactly where we left off last time with Vulture showing up on Starling's roof. Miles was just heading there to have a word with her, let her know about the vampire thing. He shows up, sees Vulture, freaks out, and is like, oh, you're attacking my girlfriend, and yeah, fight ensues. There is a little more vampire stuff as the more the fight goes on, the more vampiric Miles gets, to the point where he's ready to start draining Vulture. Until the fight gets interrupted by a call from Misty Knights. There's apparently new information on a vampire cure of sorts, or at least the start of a vampire cure, which, you know, half this issue is more vampire stuff, which I'm into, but then they immediately lead into, oh, we may just have a cure for vampirism. So we're already starting to wrap this up. The whole point I was buying this is because he's a vampire, and you're already working on a cure. Also, I understand you're trying to sound like young ethnic youth here when you're writing this dialogue, but some of it just seems weird. So, you be sleeping upside down like a bat? No. Howl at the moon? I don't know. The whole, I don't know. The way they talk just seems so weird, but maybe that's because I'm just not hip and with it.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
While the art is still good, honestly, it's one of the better things I've seen lately. I'm probably going to drop it after this issue. Vulture gets a new outfit at the very end, and quite frankly, it's lackluster, yet he's treating it as if it's an upgrade. If I read more Miles, it's gonna be because he's in some kind of crossover, or it's the Spectacular Spider-Man, which definitely takes place before he becomes a vampire. This was a short read. I think this is one of the quicker things I got through this week. I'm just gonna say this is a solid 2. The art could bump it up a little bit, but I'm gonna say this is a 2 out of 5. So yeah, sorry Miles, I'm dropping you. Alright. Moving along, since this was such a short week compared to other weeks, I figured I'd grab something out of the bargain bin and just, you know, check out what it was. And the first thing that grabbed my attention was Doc Savage. I do remember when I was really little, Dad would read me these books as bedtime stories. And they're actual books, not comics. I think technically maybe there was a picture at the start of each chapter that kind of highlighted what the chapter was being about. But this is the 2015 issue 1 of Doc Savage, which basically is Johnny Quest without the annoying child sidekicks, or the Venture Brothers without the comedy. And fun fact before we get into this, there was going to be a Doc Savage movie starring The Rock back in, I think, 2016, but when everything kicked off with him becoming Black Adam and the power dynamic of the DCU changing forever, haha, yeah right, you're dead now. Doc Savage has been transferred into some type of TV show instead of a movie. We don't know if The Rock is still attached, and we don't know if the TV show is even still in production, but theoretically, you might be seeing Doc Savage on some kind of, I don't know, Disney Plus, Hulu Plus, HBO Max Plus, whatever, something in the near future. We'll see. I kinda doubt it, but we'll see. The Spider's Web, Doc Savage. Written by Chris Robertson and art by Cesar Razek. Let's say Razek. Art by Cesar Razek. Yeah, that sounds right. So, jumping right into this, there really is no real context. We're just throwing you into the middle of a mission, and we're responding to a massive earthquake. And Doc Samson's, I keep saying Samson. Doc Savage's team, everybody specializes in something, and they all have weird names like Long Johnny or Ham. The blonde guy in red over here, his name is Happy, and apparently he specializes in earthquake detection. Like, he can predict an earthquake from like a year off. Somehow, this earthquake demolished an entire city, and he had no idea this was coming. The team investigates. We get a few, a few shots of the Doc getting in there and saving some children from a falling bus. And we discover there's a real chance that this earthquake was planned by, I don't know, some evildoer. While there is no real context explained here, it does do a lot of flashbacks to like the early days of Doc Savage, and in real life, he technically predates Superman by a few years. I think he came out in 1933, and Superman was like 38 or something like that, which was going to be the tagline for The Rock's movie. Doc Savage, the world's first superhero. Obviously, we're still waiting to see the fruits of that. But apparently, during flashbacks in the comic, we see the team back in like World War II era. Like, for some reason, these characters, the main characters, have survived almost unaged since the 30s. I would love some type of just offhand explanation for that. You don't even have to tell me exactly how. Just give me something. But they realize through flashbacks that this brand new earthquake that just happened is very similar to something that they encountered back in like the 30s or the 40s or something. And remembering that through flashbacks shows us how to solve this problem in modern day. Honestly, it's kind of a short book, and with the one flashback here, you can kind of see like the kid watching his dad get liquefied. Doc figures out who was pulling all the bullshit back in the 30s, tries to stop the guy. The guy accidentally activates his own weapon and liquefies his own body. Doc thinks the kid was asleep for this. The family was asleep, but it turns out the kid was awake and he saw the whole thing happen. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that that kid grew up to become the villain who caused the earthquake in modern day. Although at this point in 2015, he would have to be like 90 something, or whatever, not important. Honestly, there is a lot more talking than I would expect, and for as great as the art is, this honestly I think should be a novel and not a comic. Or alternatively, a TV show or movie, probably a TV show. Now I'm thinking about it, that movie would either be all talking or all action. TV show could find a balance between the two. But given that Doc Savage was initially kind of a novel kind of thing, this has a lot of exposition, which you do kind of expect from issue 1 of anything. We have to get a lot of the story and exposition out of the way immediately. Issue 1 of anything is always going to be a little wordy. I kind of have a soft spot for this because of my dad, and the art honestly is really good. So even though this should be a 2 at best, I'm going to push this up to a 3. 3 out of 5. Honestly, it's the artwork that pushes that up to a 3 out of 2. You know what I mean? It should have been a 2. Artwork pushes it up to a 3 out of 5. Next up, we're looking at The Ultimates, number 4. Written by Dennis Camp and guest artist by Phil Noto. I would not have guessed this was a guest artist. Actually, I didn't even realize that until just now. However, Mr. Noto did a damn fine job of copying the other guy's work, because I could not tell this was a guest artist. So this whole story jumps between roughly 3 time periods. The Far Past, aka the Fantastic Four's origins. The Loose Past, as in like issue 1 or 2. Issue 1 or 2 of the Ultimates. And then modern day, here and now. And every page, we're just jumping back and forth between those to the point where there's really only a couple word balloons. A few things, like you're getting snippets of conversation in each panel, and it's just enough that you can tell what's going on. It's all important things being said, but there's not enough to tie together a full conversation. Not that I have a problem with that in this situation, because there's little clues in the artwork that tell you where everything is. So issue 1 to now, there's a minor difference in Doom's outfits. You can tell what's past and what's present, and obviously you can tell what is the Fantastic Four's origins. For the most part, it largely seems like the Fantastic Four's origins are the same. In the present day, Iron Man, I guess technically Iron Lad, because Tony Stark is still a teenager. His dad was Iron Man. His dad's dead now. But Iron Man, Tony Stark, and Dr. Doom, Reed Richards, they're having a conversation about why Doom keeps missing missions, and Doom's explaining that he's trying to recreate the Fantastic Four using lab rats, but they keep dying. In the not too distant past, Doom is watching his own origins on, I guess, a time window or a holographic projector from Tony's little time machine thing, the Mortis engine. And the further through the watch through he gets, the more he starts freaking out and trying to literally break the window so he can jump back in time, although I'm pretty sure it's been established that's not how time travel works here, so I don't know, he's just going crazy. And then of course there is the far distant past, which would be his actual origin. We also see him blasting mice with cosmic radiation and seeing the outcome of it, that the rock one always seems to die first. But we see that at some point, when the Fantastic Four went up into space, Reed's calculations were wrong, and they missed the cosmic storm that would have given them their powers. The ship malfunctions, Johnny blows up, the Thing crash lands, well, he's not even the Thing, he's Ben Grimm. He crash lands into a rock quarry and just dies on impact. Sue does end up with some cosmic radiation, but she's dying from radiation poisoning, and Reed's responsible for all of it. And he gets sent to the Maker, and Maker is just Reed from the original Ultimate Universe. Honestly, this is kind of deep. At the start of this whole Ultimate situation, when the Maker jumped from the main universe out into wild space and created this new Ultimate Universe, the last thing he asked was, if you could do this again, would you erase me from existence? And our Reed was like, yeah, I would. And the Maker's like, yeah, okay, I'll remember that. Now I think we're seeing what he meant by this, because he's taken the Reed Richards of this universe and completely messed him up. Killed his family, killed his friends, and then tortured him. Like, I don't even know what the Maker's doing over here, but like, honestly, we don't really exactly know what the Maker is doing to Reed here. But I mean, he stretches the arms, he melts the face, he tinkers with the brain, I don't know, tortures him into changing his name from Reed to Doom, and I don't even know what this is. You covering him in rats? Weird green mutant rat things? I don't know what's happening here. And then finally drops a boiling hot metal mask onto his face, searing it onto place, just like with the very original Doctor Doom. Which is weird, because I don't think that was Doom's origin in the original Ultimate Universe. And in fact, the Fantastic Four didn't even really have to deal with Doctor Doom more than like once, arguably twice. So why Ultimate Reed is so obsessed with turning a good Reed Richards into a Doctor Doom is a little beyond me. Outside of fans know that Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Doom are mortal enemies. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what the thought process here was, but Doom is definitely losing his mind. He's saying he's just gonna keep missing missions with the Ultimates to keep working on recreating the Fantastic Four. But for real, I think he's coming real close to a psychotic break. This was really good. This was good. It was a very quick read. Like, out of all the things I bought this month, or this week, I got through this one the fastest. And that's including flipping back to double check the artwork just to check time periods. Modern day Doom has the Doctor Doom gloves. Issue 1 Doom, he's got kind of like a, I don't know, skin tight glove thing going on. It's a subtle situation, but he breaks his hands and puts on the metal gloves. Overall, the art is exactly what I would expect. Even I had no idea this was a guest artist until I checked for this video, honestly. That's how good the art is. My only issue is that this doesn't advance anything in the plot other than, okay, so Doom's probably losing his mind. He's probably going insane. And also, the other 3 members of the Fantastic Four are canonically dead here, which means if the Fantastic Four do come together, it's not gonna be Reed, Ben, Sue, and Johnny. It's gonna be some 4 other people. Honestly, I'm gonna, out of 5, this is a 4. I know, it's the 4th issue, it's the Fantastic Four, 4 out of 5. That seems like a joke, but like, honestly, I'm happy with all of the Ultimate stuff. It's not perfect, so it's not a 5 out of 5, but it's real goddamn close. 4 out of 5. And finally, the Spectacular Spider-Men face the new terrifying villain, Knive. Or possibly Knaive. I'm not sure if it's a full name or just an acronym yet. But it's issue 7. which I believe wraps up the first full story arc. And like the last 6 issues, were written by Greg Weisman and art by Humberto Ramos. The last 2 issues have been just fights. 5 was Spider-Man versus Spider-Man, 6 was Spider-Man and Spider-Man versus a bunch of robots, and here we are at 7, where the Spider-Men have basically knocked out all the robots, and whatever, I don't know, Fantasy Islands, Danger Room, alternate reality AI thing has become sentient and built its own body out of the land. I'm guessing this arm is just cables, this arm is plant life, smoke, or water, and this one is smoke? And I don't know what the hell is going on with the body there. That's just generic metal, I'm guessing. But it states its purpose is to make people happy. And the Spider-Men are like, okay, that's cool, we can let you live. We don't have to fight. But the robot's like, no. Or in order for me to learn about humans, you must serve me. And thus, you cannot leave. Nor can I let go any of the captives that I have. And so the Spider-Men are like, nope, we're fighting. Both the Spider-Men are overwhelmed pretty quick until Miles's deformed clone shows up. Kind of forgot this guy existed. His name is Shift. He's an unstable clone. He's stable enough to have a body, but unstable enough he can just grow extra limbs. I mean, to be fair, Peter also has an unstable clone, but it's not that unstable. Shift brings all of the vermin with him. Little sewer rat people. I'm not going to give you the play-by-play here, but the fight is pretty entertaining. Again, mainly that comes down to Humberto Ramos's arts. He really knows how to show movement. It just looks great. And the Jackal finally makes an appearance. Don't get me wrong, I know what you're thinking, but it's not a mutant or some kind of creature or something. That's an old, fat, bald science professor in a furry suit. Don't get me wrong, it's a really good suit, but still, you're just an old guy in a suit. However, he reveals that when he realized that this place was going to become sentient, he started working with it and suggested tying cloning technology in with the nanobot technology. And Connive is able to kick out new clones or robot things in a matter of minutes. Which means for every robot the Spider-Men destroy, there could easily be 100 more within like 5 minutes. More fighting ensues, and we get this really good, not a splash page, cross-section, I guess? The Spider-Men are fighting Knive and busting through the walls of this facility and going into each of these different fantasy worlds. I guess it's kind of like Westworld. You get your own little fantasy with robots that look human. The spiders just keep breaking through the walls and tumbling through with the fight, and we get to see all the people from the previous 6 issues who have gone missing. They're all here. They're all just living out their fantasies. Eventually they tumble back into Peter's fantasy, and all the robots that look like his friends and family try to attack him, and Miles steps in to snap Uncle Ben's neck. And then Miles' family robot breaks in, and, well, things just keep going until Miles gets the idea that I can just use my electricity powers to short-circuit this whole situation because it's all robots and robots run on electricity. Which was my giant problem with Miles when he first debuted. Every single fight involving Miles just comes down to how long is it going to take the writer to remember, oh yeah, Miles has Venom Blast electric powers. They stop the robot, everybody gets their happy ending. We don't return to the surface though. That is saved for next issue. There's a chance that this story arc isn't really over, but it feels like it's over. Like maybe one more issue to do, just wrap up, but we've defeated the bad guy. Oh my god, there has to be one more. Because this entire thing was being run by Arcade and Mentallo, and they haven't been caught yet. Okay, no, there's gonna be one more issue, minimum. We've introduced a new bad guy, Connive, and defeated him. Also, I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've seen the Jackal since, like, I don't know, 2010, 2015, something like that. It's been a while. Probably 2015. Overall, out of 5, I'm gonna say this is a 5. It should be probably like a 4. It's a very good issue. It's a solid issue. It wraps up a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of action. But that artwork, oh my god, that artwork. I absolutely love everything Ramos does. I'm a little biased there, but that artwork just, that really gives you a sense of a character in motion. So overall, I'll say Spectacular Spider-Man, 5 out of 5. Not just does it look good, not just did the story wrap everything up, but, well, almost everything, but this was a lot of fun to read. I had the most fun with this one. Although, I have to say, I was most looking forward to reading the Ultimates. I most enjoyed Spider-Man. Those are my picks for the week. Let me know what you thought, and like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next week. Deuces.